Live from KSAT 12. The 6 o'clock news starts right now.
A targeted search for evidence the day after a woman was found killed off of an east side walking trail.
The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office has a tentative confirmation as a 63-year-old white woman. That's the same general description as 63-year-old Stacy Dramiga, who disappeared Sunday while walking on that trail.
Now, Courtney Friedman went back to the park today where a regular walker said that she's taking safety more seriously now than ever.
Bexar County Sheriff's deputies on horseback, park police on four-wheelers, and trail stewards on their bikes, combing the trails of multiple east side parks along the Salado Greenway Trail.
63-year-old Stacy Dramiga went for a walk on Sunday, which started here at Covington Park. Then on Monday, a body with a description similar to hers was found here at DeFost Park.
Never have had any problem with anybody walking over here, and it's very unfortunate about what's happening right now.
Judy Guajardo and her dog walk Covington Park almost every day. These days in the more open spaces.
I walked a little down over by Martin Luther King, but I just didn't feel that secure over there, and because of the high grass and stuff, you didn't know if there was somebody in there hiding or something, so I decided to quit walking over there.
Her greatest fear, situations like this, where the woman's body was found in a wooded area 30 yards off the trail. She refuses to give up her walk, so she takes protection seriously.
I have a concealed handgun, and I carry a weapon all with me all the time to make sure that if there is somebody, hopefully I can deter them to go the other direction. If somebody was getting hurt, maybe I could help them.
She always walks with her dog, but added walking with other people is even safer.
You're less vulnerable if you have 2 or 3 people with you.
She also lets people know where she is, so if something were to happen, they'd know where to look. As for this park, she's glad to see lots of law enforcement around, given a suspect has not been caught.
Sometimes I see a policeman like on a four-wheeler. It would be nice to see maybe a few more people.
Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar urging anyone who took videos or perhaps pictures at those trails to share them with the Sheriff's Office. If you have any information, call BCSO at 210-335-6000. We're told that Dramiga's family is fully cooperating with the investigation and is not considered to be involved in her disappearance.
Today, jurors saw dozens of photos showing locked up food and security cameras from the home of a man accused of starving his son to death back in 2021. Brandon Cervera is facing a charge of injury to a child after 4-year-old Benjamin Cervera died. Prosecutors showed jurors a kitchen with locked cabinets and a pantry. They were stocked with food. They also showed a security camera that was set up in the kitchen and in the room that Benjamin Cervera shared with his brother. Benjamin died from what was ruled as starvation, but the defense is now challenging that.
This kid was not starved and was not dehydrated, and it's going to be in the scientific evidence as well as what you as people who have seen children and yourself will observe.
The defense also said that it was possible the child's stepmother suffocated him because she might have been suffering from postpartum depression. As for the photos, the defense says that even though everything had locks, they were all open and investigators had no issues opening them. That stepmother, Miranda Cáceres, has since been found guilty in the case and sentenced to 25 years in prison. Cervera is facing up to life in prison if he's found guilty. Testimony in this case resumes tomorrow morning, and we are live streaming the trial. You could watch it on any of our digital platforms.
Some news for Fiesta 2025. The event Fiesta FitFest will not be returning next year. San Antonio Sports announcing their organization will be involved with the NCAA Men's Final Four, and they can't take on both events next year. Fiesta FitFest was a 3-day multi-sport event that brought people downtown looking to take part, and it started about 3 years ago.
Big bucks for a big election. 6 changes to the city charter are going to be on San Antonio ballots this November.
And they include pay raises for council members, 4-year council terms instead of the current 2, and reversing caps on the city manager's pay and tenure. It's a lot to consider.
Garrett Berger tells us a pro-amendment campaign is ready to spend big bucks to convince you.
San Antonio voters are exactly 6 weeks from voting on 6 charter changes, and a campaign supporting all of them is underway.
These are things, again, that will make our city stronger, more competitive, more empowered down the road.
Kelton Morgan is the campaign director of Renew San Antonio, a local PAC rooted in the city's business community. Its tri-chairs are Morgan's Wonderland founder Gordon Hartman, the head of Stamp Allergy Dr. Erica Gonzalez, and AT&T exec J.D. Salinas. Former Secretary of State Hope Andrade is the treasurer. And by the size of their budget, $1 million, Morgan says, they mean business.
What is it in here that warrants $1 million?
Well, it's the number of people voting that warrants $1 million. I mean, that's what it costs to reach the people that are turning out to vote in this election.
They plan a mass media push, direct mailers, digital ads, broadcast, and print.
Part of the campaign's problem is reminding voters to push to the end of a long ballot. For example, I've got 34 races before I hit the charter amendments. Made it.
The amendment's chances are up for debate. UTSA polling shows several of them struggling. But Morgan disagrees with how that poll was conducted. Their internal polling, he says, shows the amendment's performing better. The biggest difference is on Prop C. That's the amendment to reverse a change that voters approved 6 years ago. After a firefighter-led campaign, voters capped the city manager's pay and time in the top administrative role. A Renew SA news release said undoing those caps has been a focus of the business community since they passed.
This is about ensuring that the city council is empowered, again, to recruit and retain the best talent possible.
It remains to be seen whether the fire union will weigh in. They're under new leadership now and on friendlier terms with the city. They're expected to make a decision on their stance this week. Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Let's talk about the weather out there right now. It's hot right now, but we are waiting on some cooler mornings, Adam.
Yeah, a subtle little taste of fall on the way in the sense that the mornings, you'll notice a change out there and a drop in the humidity. But we still have the humidity right now and a little bit of shower activity. Nothing around San Antonio, but you go far to the east, closer to Houston, and even in parts of the hill country up near I-10. 96 was our high today. Get ready for some changes. We'll talk about when they arrive and how long they last in a bit.
Now, speaking of changes and what's happening outside, we'll take you outside, a different angle here, though. This is a TransGuide camera at 410 at Jackson Keller, where you can see there is a bit of a slowdown on one side there of the road. I looked online right now. It doesn't look like there were any accidents or anything like that. It just looks like normal traffic for a Tuesday evening.
September is Gynecologic Cancer Awareness Month, and they're cancers in the female reproductive tract. There are 5 cancers associated with this: cervical, uterine, ovarian, vaginal, and vulvar. Dr. Brian Zender is the chief of surgery at Methodist Stone Oak. He says that symptom awareness and knowing your family history, that's key to catching the disease early on. If you're ever questioning whether something is wrong, he says call your OBGYN.
We're dedicated to women's care and women's health. That's why we chose this field, and it's really easy to just ask us questions.
You can see a full breakdown of symptoms associated with all 5 types of gynecologic cancers by scanning the QR code that's there in the corner of your screen. It's not exactly thought of as a place for young children, a courtroom. But that's exactly where several have ended up lately, in front of a judge and answering to some serious charges. Katrina Weber sat down with a local juvenile court judge who says this trend has been a real eye-opener.
They're making headlines at an age when the focus used to be on making good grades. Last week, a 14-year-old boy was accused of trying to carjack a man at gunpoint, even firing off a shot. Meanwhile, a 13-year-old accused in a deadly carjacking at a Northside Walmart in April is still awaiting trial. A rash of online threats about killings, shootings at schools has led to several arrests. Among them, 2 12-year-old boys earlier this month and a 10-year-old in Kerrville Monday.
It's eye-opening. It's eye-opening seeing what our youth are doing right now.
Juvenile Court Judge William Cruz Shaw says he has noticed younger and younger children appearing before him. Although each child's circumstances are different, Shaw says a lot of negative influence comes from what they're exposed to.
Where parents once had to worry about what their children learned on the playground, Shaw says it's now social media that is driving this bad behavior.
The world is at our children's fingertips, so they can see things from all over this country and all over the world, and not always the best.
Social media, though, is what one sheriff in Florida sees as a solution. He's posting pictures of children accused of making school threats, an idea Shaw says would never fly here.
In Texas, juveniles are with really strict confidentiality process here. So none of these kids should be on TV, the newspapers.
Instead of broadcasting, he recommends a narrow focus. Everyone paying close attention to what children are doing to stop bad behavior before it happens. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
This is footage that hasn't been seen publicly until now. A Medina County Sheriff's deputy shooting a handcuffed teenager in the face with a high-propulsion pepper spray gun from less than 4 feet away. That incident led to the arrest and conviction of Deputy Jonathan Nunemaker for felony assault. Teenager Brandon Sanchez suffered permanent injuries to his face. A use of force expert tells KSAT investigates that the deputy acted on emotion and steered away from his training.
I can agree with a certain level of force, but that level arose way too high with that type of deployment, with that type of percussion weapon.
Tonight on the Night Beat, the aftermath of a deputy's decision to fire that pepper spray gun at the teen's face from less than 4 feet away. Right now, you can scan the QR code right there on your screen to see how that situation spiraled out of control.
Hispanic Heritage Month, a time to reflect and appreciate the generations of Hispanic Americans who have made our communities better places. In the case of a San Antonio restaurant, they are bringing the flavor and the culture of Colombia to the Alamo City. We'll take you there. And Morgan's Wonderland has long been a staple of South Texas, so how did it start? How the park's purpose and solutions are changing the world.
And before we head to break, we want to remind you that Doc Talk is happening later on this week, and here's how it works. Scan that QR code that you see on your screen. You type a medical question, any health question that you would like to ask a doctor, and a doctor will be right here at KSAT to give you answers to your question. Doc Talk airs every Thursday on the news at 6:30. We'll be right back.
A cat nearly ripped apart by 2 roaming dogs in Denver Heights. It's a scary story that we're telling you about tonight on the Night Beat. And we're also sharing how Animal Care Services says they're trying to stop more of these attacks.
There's been 2 shootings in the last 3 days in the parking lot between these 2 fast food restaurants on the northeast side. Tonight on the Night Beat, what SAPD is saying about both cases and the concerns from those who live in the area.
Okay, who's hungry? Plantains, chorizo, arepas, all strong parts of the Colombian cuisine. Colombians are actually one of the largest groups of South American migrants coming to the U.S.
And many of them are actually settling right here in San Antonio. Patty Santos introduces us to some of their authentic flavors.
It's a little hole in the wall, but the smells coming out of Sabor de Sanchez are enticing. Every day at the corner of Tassel Road and Mainland Drive, you'll find ready-to-serve chicharrón.
But the most popular plate we do is bandeja paisa.
The traditional Colombian beans, white rice, chorizo, plantain, and eggs. Daniel Modano and his wife Merle Rodriguez are the soul behind the restaurant.
I never in my life think that I can have restaurants.
The former journalist moved to San Antonio 14 years ago. After buying the Mexican restaurant, he quickly realized there was a need for Colombian flavor in the Alamo City.
And this decision was taken 8 years ago. No more tacos, just empanadas, arepas, bandeja paisa.
He says most of his clients are Central Americans and fellow Colombians.
When I came to San Antonio, only in San Antonio there were 3,000 Colombian people. In this moment, they are 10,000.
The success and love for his country prompted him to open a second location at 1604 in Stone Oak.
Colombian food is the best food you can find.
He served us up some of the most popular dishes: empanadas, carne asada, picada. This is an arepa. Everybody knows arepa because of Encanto. So we all want to know, what is the difference between an arepa, a pupusa, and a gordita?
Arepas, pupusas, and gorditas are relatives.
You'll have to taste the difference yourself. And don't forget to try it with a Colombian magic sauce, ají.
Eso es una mezcla secreta de los colombianos.
Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
Oh, that stuff looks delicious.
Yeah.
I want all of it.
How's Patty getting so lucky these days? Okay, let's go to Florida now. That's where people are bracing for Tropical Storm Helene. Good Samaritans here in Texas, though, they're ready to go help. Governor Greg Abbott and the Texas Division of Emergency Management are sending an 80-person search and rescue crew to Florida ahead of this natural disaster. Those crews are bringing 15 vehicles, 6 boats, and a team of search and rescue canines to help out too. Adam, you've been watching this. You've been telling us how it's going to head to that. What part of Florida is it there? That curve?
The Big Bend of Florida.
Bend of Florida.
Yep. Think of, Texas. Florida has one too. It's just that arc in the Gulf coastline, and that's where it's headed. And it's likely to become a major Category 3 hurricane. Not just high winds, but very damaging storm surge associated with it. That's what causes most of the damage and destruction when it comes to these systems. It's the water and the push of water in from the ocean. Let's get right to the latest on what is now Tropical Storm Helene in the Caribbean. It's headed into the Gulf of Mexico. We'll be there tomorrow, and at that point, a hurricane, and quickly strengthen, likely into Category 3 or major hurricane with winds of about 115 miles per hour, and then by Thursday evening, making landfall in that Big Bend region of Florida, which, when it comes to Florida, is one of the lesser populated parts of the state. Of course, still very impactful. But you look at the computer plots and you see there's a bit of a spread there from about Panama City to just north of Tampa for the options and the potential of where that could end up. And you look at the forecast from the Hurricane Center, and it's very similar to the computer model spread that we just saw. But here's what's important. Category 3 is the likely strength of this storm by 1 p.m. on Thursday and making landfall as a Category 3 later in the day, especially Thursday evening. That would be some winds of 115 miles per hour or up to 115 miles per hour in the eye wall of that storm. Around here, we're not going to have any impacts. Actually, a north wind is going to drop our morning temperatures noticeably. A little taste of fall is what we'll have in the mornings ahead, especially by Friday morning. Friday morning, we're down to 63 degrees at sunrise. So noticeable changes ahead. Mornings back into the 60s, which is near to even a little below average for this time of year. And the key is dew points are going to drop. The dewies will be swept away and we're going to have much drier air in place. Notice the current dewies in the 60s. Off to the north, drier air, that's headed our way, and that drier air should make it here by tomorrow evening. So tomorrow morning and tomorrow at lunchtime, still humid. Tomorrow by sunset, you'll start to notice those changes with the drier, less humid air in place, and it sticks around for several days. Through the weekend, even into next week, the humidity is not going to return. Tomorrow morning, 78 degrees at 9 a.m. or 75 at 7 a.m. Then we warm up to near 80 by 10 a.m. Then at noon, we're talking a temperature of 87, 94 for the high with the mixture of sun and clouds and the off chance of a stray shower. We're talking a 10% chance tomorrow. Bulverde tomorrow 91, Floresville 96, Hondo 95, and Uvalde a high temperature of 94. Looking ahead, bright sunny days. Unfortunately, we won't be able to drum up some needed rainfall because of the low humidity and the type of pattern. Crisp baby blue skies, lack of humidity, and highs a little closer to 90. We have some clouds out there right now. Up in the hill country are dropping some rain. We'll take a closer look at those and talk about the steering pattern. What's steering Helene at 6:45.
Okay, we'll see you then. Thanks, Adam.
Speaking of steering, the Texans probably want to steer in a different direction this time around. Bad game last week?
Yes, on Sunday, 11 penalties were called, 8 against the offensive line alone. What D'Amico Ryans has to say about that as Week 4 prep has begun. Plus, Texas State is back in action after a bye. We'll hear from head coach G.J. Kinney right after the break. It's been a frustrating couple of weeks for the Dallas Cowboys. The frustration also apparent inside of the Cowboys locker room. In recent interviews, veterans of the team have pointed out a need for improvement in relation to accountability, practice habits, film session habits, the details, and so on and so forth. On the field, Dallas's biggest concern is their NFL worst run defense. But off the heels of a loss at home to the Ravens, head coach Mike McCarthy seems to like how the team is responding on a short week ahead of Thursday Night Football against the Giants.
I think they clearly responded the way they're supposed to. I thought they're very accountable. I think they, if anything, to a fault, openly honest with the externals on what happened. But no, they've been very focused. We had a full day yesterday. We had to put in first, second, third down. So we were able to get that done. I let them sleep in this morning. We actually needed some time as a coaching staff just to get the game plans tight and get ready for them. So they came in at 9 today, and then was in the weight room. We started at 11.
It's a short turnaround this week for Dallas, and they're on the road. Daniel Jones, Devin Singletary, and the Giants await the Cowboys' arrival for a 7:15 start on Thursday. Now talking about the Houston Texans, D'Amico Ryan's squad doesn't have much positive to take away from their 34-7 loss against the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday. But rather they have plenty of mistakes to correct, like the 8 penalties called against the offensive line, 6 against Houston's Pro Bowl O-lineman Laramie Tunsil alone. And according to Ryans, the Texans' problem is not a referee issue.
The analytics with the referees really doesn't matter to me. We teach playing the game the right way, and that's all that matters. When you step out on the field, you play the game the right way. However they call it. It really doesn't matter. I don't want players worried about how the refs call it. You have to go play your technique the right way, and that's the only thing that matters.
We'll see if it gets fixed this Sunday as Houston looks to improve to 2-0 against division opponents as Jacksonville visits for a noon kickoff. On to college ball now. The 2-1 Texas State football team returns to action off of a bye week this Saturday against 3-1 Sam Houston. The Bobcats, of course, opened the season 2-0 with a notable win over UTSA, but after falling short against Arizona State of the Big 12, G.J. Kinney believes the jury is still out to decide what to make of this Texas State team.
Jury's still out probably. Got to go out there, and I think Saturday will be a big test for us, and then moving forward, getting into conference. And I think you kind of, because look, there's a lot of teams out there that, their non-conference is this, they play this opponent, so you really don't know kind of who people are until, a couple more weeks probably. I know when we're playing really well, I think we're probably pretty tough. And then just some inconsistencies, penalties.
That's a 2 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. As for tonight, we're bringing you all of the action going down at Paul Taylor Fieldhouse. District 28 6A Region 4 action between Harlan and Warren, as well as a battle between Taft and Brennan. So be sure to tune into the Night Beat.
Okay, thank you.
Our Solutionary series is coming up next. Okay, homecoming season is here, and you can help us with an upcoming KSAT Explains. It is all about mums, where the tradition came from, how it became such a thing in Texas. So we want to see your mums. Scan this QR code to go to the KSAT Connect website. That's where you can upload your pic of a homecoming mom to the sports channel under the high school football category, and we could use your mom in an upcoming episode of KSAT Explains.
Perfect opportunity to flex.
Yeah, for sure. Our Solutionary series shines a spotlight on the people, programs, and places that are solving problems in our own community. Well, one person here locally isn't just filling a gap here, but all across the globe. Gordon Hartman is the definition of a solutionary.
He created the first ever all-inclusive theme park for people with special needs. Since Morgan's Wonderland, he's added 13 other projects. And now, here's Courtney Friedman.
One of my first jobs was actually walking dogs when I was very young, because if I could walk a dog around the block, I got 50 cents. So I started thinking, well, if I can have numerous dogs with me at one time, I can make maybe $2.50 every time I go around the block.
That mindset fueled the entrepreneur in Gordon Hartman, starting his first business at 15. But it was his eventual home building business that brought tremendous success.
I many times think of my life split into 3 parts. I spent 20 years as a kid 20 years as a businessman, and now 20 years as what I refer to as a social worker.
That last piece is what we're here to talk about. In 2005, he sold his companies and developed the idea for something that had never been done before, inspired by his beautiful daughter, Morgan, who has special needs.
But Morgan has everything that she needs. She has all the doctors, she has all the therapists, she has a great caregiver, she has 2 loving parents who serve as her navigators. That many times an exception to the rule.
So he dreamt up Morgan's Wonderland, the first theme park in the world, fully available to people of all abilities, where people with special needs can come without stress for free.
This is our 4D theater, and what's unique about it is that if someone's in a wheelchair, they're set here, they get the same spray of the water, the same air, and then the up and down of the feeling of being on the roller coaster. Here, the person in the wheelchair is not sitting there and going, I wish I could be a part of it.
I'm just stable. Everyone else gets to move around.
And that's right. A lot of our rides around here are like that.
And they keep all needs in mind, whether it's wheelchairs, cognitive delays, hearing or visual impairment. Proof of that is in the music area.
But a symphony of just enjoyment and just a feeling of being a part. And that's what this is.
And you've chosen sounds that make people comfortable. They're not too loud.
No.
I feel like I could meditate to this.
I think you're doing a good job there. I'm actually getting sleepy watching you. Yeah.
I could stay here all day.
Yeah.
Every single inch of the park meticulously planned with the most crucial input.
We went out to the special needs community. We went out to doctors. We went out to therapists. We went out to grandparents. We went out to caregivers. We had numerous town halls to learn. And then from that is how we determine what to build.
Giving people themselves a seat at the table. And on this awesome, now infamous Ferris wheel that takes wheelchairs.
I hear many times, I saw my daughter or my son do something I never thought they would be able to do before. But then they talk about how their self-esteem is different when they leave Morgan.
He sees the same emotion across the park.
I have seen teenagers cry here because they've never been on a swing ever in their life.
That feedback so powerful, Hartman couldn't stop there. Nearly 3 million people from over 122 countries in all 50 states have come to Morgan's Wonderland, and he wanted even more options for those families. So in 2017, they opened Inspiration Island, the world's first all-ability water park.
It's warmer. The water's warmer because not everybody can handle tap water. It also takes someone who's in a wheelchair. Many times they look and they watch people who are having fun. When we have a wheelchair valet, privately you change into another wheelchair that we have that can handle the chlorinated water.
Fast forward to 2021, they opened Morgan's Camp, a summer-style camp program for everyone.
We have the only challenge course that we know of that can actually have someone in a wheelchair enjoying it 22 feet in the air. Someone who has visual impairment, cognitive impairment can enjoy that.
A month later came Morgan Sports, a 3-acre ultra-accessible sports center for athletes of all ages and abilities. But by 2022, they looked beyond just the fun of parks and camps. They opened the Multi-Assistance Center, or the MAC, a central one-stop shop for life-changing resources.
We navigate individuals with special needs for medical, therapeutic, and other needs that they may have, such as food insecurities or whatever legal issues or whatever.
The framework of a massive solution for communities worldwide that struggle with ways to support their special needs families, especially when it comes to jobs or health care.
We make sure the follow-through is there. And that's what's important so they don't fall through the cracks.
The people they've caught are the ones fueling the continued programs that bring even more people to San Antonio.
Morgan Salon opened at the beginning of this year. Our new ambulatory surgical center is opening in a month. We are opening this week our new expansion to our dental facilities.
After winning award after award, Hartman had to create a place to teach all the people who want to replicate this globally.
From that, we're building Morgan's Inclusion Campus, which will include our institute, which will be an opportunity for people to come from all over the world to be able to learn about what we are doing.
But at the end of that whole conversation, listing accolades and plans, his message was quite simple: belief. Belief in ideas.
You took a risk that's based on compassion.
It was a risk because when we built Morgan's Wonderland, we didn't know if anybody was going to show up. We didn't know. It had never been done before.
Success founded on and measured by the belief in community.
Nice. I think about that story of the mother who tells me, I'm not so concerned about my son's physical issues and some of his cognitive issues. My biggest concern is he's lonely. And so inclusion allows us an opportunity to bring everybody together.
I love that. Now, this is just one of many Solutionary stories. To see our other episodes, you can head on over to ksat.com/solutionaries or our YouTube page.
And how awesome that we have that right here in San Antonio. Right? It's a homegrown effort. 42 days left until Election Day, where Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are spending their Tuesday on the campaign trail. That's next here on the news at 6. Six weeks from the election, Vice President Kamala Harris is trying to convince Americans that she's serious about the southern border.
Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump is still focusing on trade tariffs as Democratic leaders continue to call on him to commit to another debate with Vice President Kamala Harris. Perry Russum is in Washington with the story.
Vice President Kamala Harris reportedly planning her first visit to the southern border since becoming the Democratic nominee for president. The New York Times reports Harris will visit the border during a trip to Arizona Friday, after a new poll shows former President Trump now leading by 5 points in that state.
Let's be clear. We are the underdog in this race, and we have some hard work ahead of us.
The Harris campaign deploying billboards to locations around the country, mocking Trump's refusal to accept another debate.
Join me on the debate stage. Let's have another debate. There's more to talk about.
This would really be late into the election.
The billboards depicting Trump in a chicken suit with the caption, "There's no debate, Donald Trump's a chicken." In Pennsylvania last night, Trump attacking Harris's energy and manufacturing policies, promising to keep U.S. steel American-owned.
We have to make U.S. steel great again.
Earlier, speaking to farmers, Trump threatening to impose a massive tariff on John Deere if it moves production to Mexico. In the crucial swing state of North Carolina, the Trump-endorsed candidate for governor responding last night to a CNN report, claiming he made racist and inflammatory comments on a porn site, including calling himself a black Nazi.
The reason why they're coming against all Republicans hard is because they know we are winning.
Mark Robinson denies making the comments, vowing to stay in the race.
We're not quitting, we're not leaving, and we are going to win this race.
Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
We inch closer and closer to Election Day back here at home. We want to remind you that KSAT's doing something different when it comes to covering the election, at least when it comes to local issues. Your Voice South Texas is a new series. It takes you to smaller towns across our region to talk to you, to talk to voters, and find out what issues matter most to you. You can find each of our episodes from the series on our website, ksat.com. Also, scan that QR code right there. And also, plus, look out for our next episode. We shot it in New Braunfels, and that's going to drop tomorrow.
Let's take another look outside with live cam. Adam Caskey, you've talked about lower humidity in those cooler mornings. Bring them our way.
You're a little eager for them, huh?
Yes, I am.
Remember a few weeks ago we had a subtle taste of fall for a few mornings.
This is so nice.
It was. This will be similar. It's going to be an extended period of very low humidity. We still have the humidity now, and highly isolated showers have popped up on authority radar, especially closer to Houston, but one over the past hour in southeastern Gonzales County didn't last long. Even a lightning strike with this thunderstorm in northwest Kerr County. That's headed to the southeast, but these are short-lived, highly isolated. We'll talk about the upcoming changes and when they hit in just a bit.
Welcome back. If you've been growing weary of this very hot and humid weather, hold on, changes are on the way.
Yeah, noticeable changes kick in tomorrow around or a little after this time tomorrow is when we're going to start to notice the changes. Let's take a look at our headlines here. These are the key. There's actually a lot to talk about. Humidity falls off big time tomorrow evening, and it's going to stay low for many days. Temperatures will be cooler in the mornings. Drier air allows for more cooling at night. So 63 degrees by Friday morning, that'll be a welcome change. And in the tropics, we have Helene that's headed into the Gulf, and it's then going to make landfall by Thursday evening in the Big Bend region of Florida. We'll get to it all in a moment. Look at this morning temperature trend. Another unseasonably warm and muggy start to the day tomorrow at 75. But by Thursday morning, 66. Friday morning, we're down to 63, and we're going to be in roughly the low to mid 60s Friday all the way into the early part of next week because this drier air is going to stick around for a while. The drier air that's not here yet. Dew point is 66 in San Antonio. across the board, we're feeling the mugginess. It's not the tropical, really oppressive type of humidity, but it's noticeable. Notice the drier air off to the north. Amarillo, 46 degrees for the dew point. Denver and North Platte at 37, even Wichita, 55. We're eventually going to be tapping into that drier air as it ventures southward. Now, tomorrow morning, you'll wake up to the humidity. Lunch hour, we'll still have the humidity, but by a little closer to dinner time tomorrow is when that humidity is going to be swept away. Dew points fall into the 50s and remain in that pleasant category for many days in a row through the weekend and even into next week. So we can't drum up any rain, unfortunately. And if we can't do that, at least it's going to be comfortable outside. That's the way I see it. It'd be nice to get some of the leftovers from what is right now Tropical Storm Helene, but this is going to stay far away from us. And actually, it's a good thing it's going to stay away from the Texas coast, because this is likely to turn into a major hurricane and then make landfall somewhere in the Big Bend region of Florida here. Panama City right there near that point, and then eastward, where it's not as populated in that Big Bend region, but still, this is going to be a destructive storm. Category 3 likely, and a storm surge of up to 9 to 12 feet with that storm surge. Wind gusts potentially 115 miles per hour. Here's what's steering it. Got the trough in the central U.S., upper level high over the western Atlantic, and due to their respective circulations, it's just going to funnel Helene right there into western Florida and parts of the Big Bend region. So it really has a grip on the steering flow, then the remnants just dissipating up into the basically the Midwest and Great Lakes region. 75 in the morning tomorrow, 87 at noon, 91 then by 5 o'clock. I do think we'll make it into the mid 90s tomorrow, closer to 94 for the high temperature. Pleasanton 96. Kerrville, though, 87 in Rock Springs, 86 for that high. A lot of sunshine, crisp baby blue skies ahead. Again, I wish we could get some rain, but if we can't drum it up, at least it's going to feel nicer and we'll have some decent weather.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. The Buzz is up next.
Take a good look at this, because beer isn't the only thing that's flowing at this London pub, the White Cross Pub. It sits on the River Thames, and visitors are often knee-deep in water. Why is that? Well, it's because the pub often floods during high tide.
But not a problem. The pub provides rain boots for its customers. So some people, they prefer to go barefoot, though. One man even rowed his own boat to get there. So the beer is apparently pretty good.
Yikes. And that water is not clean. All right.
Stephanie is concerned about the bacteria.
Yes.
A new analysis by French physicists hints that there may be more behind Vincent van Gogh's The Starry Night than what it seems. The study found that it wasn't just Van Gogh's creativity that stands out here, but an understanding of the mathematical structure of turbulent flow.
So using a digital image of that painting, physicists determined that the pattern of the stars there follow a scientific law known as Kolmogorov's theory of turbulence. And so while it's impressive, scientists have come to the conclusion that the painting's patterns is really just an amazing coincidence.
So maybe he didn't understand it after all. Right. And it just worked out. Okay, so finally here, a critter in a cramped spot. This bear found its way into a California couple's crawl space. The Department of Fish and Wildlife using night vision cameras to keep an eye on the large black bear, who they say was likely looking for a new place to call home.
Hibernate. They're hoping the bear will leave on its own, so they don't want to force it. Otherwise, they're going to have to give the burly brute the boot. In the meantime, the couple has named their grizzled guest Junior. How ordinary.
I mean, I wouldn't be giving him the boot either.
Yeah.
Let him go on his own time.
Yeah, he'll decide. Yeah. We'll be right back. 4 days left. It's almost time for this year's Head for the Cure 5K. It's on September 28th at Providence Catholic School, which is across the street from our KSAT studios downtown. It's next weekend. KSAT supports Head for the Cure in honor of our former news director, Jim Boyle, who died of brain cancer. All of the money from this event goes to brain cancer research. If you want more information, visit ksatcommunity.com. Also scan that QR code. You'll get more information.
Tomorrow, we'll wake up to the humidity. Midday, we'll still have it. But by tomorrow evening, that's when it should get swept away. So by about 8, 9 o'clock, you'll notice that lack of mugginess. And it's going to stick around for several days. Still in the mid-90s tomorrow. 94 San Antonio, 96 Eagle Pass, and even Del Rio as well. And then low 90s to near 90 to round out the work week and start the weekend. But it's the cooler mornings that have our attention.
Yes, they do. Thanks, Adam. And thank you for watching the News at 6.
We'll be right back here on the Night Beat. Have a nice dinner.